Hey, hey, hey. Karl Bryan coming at you from the world's #1 beach on my mountain bike. Hope you're doing well. Today, I am going to answer the question, the #1 question you can ever ask yourself, the #1 question I could ever ask you, and the #1 question you could ask your coaching client. I just got hit by a big wave. What is it? What do you want? What do you want? Sounds easy. It's very hard. One of the hardest things you could ever do is establish what it is that you want. The problem is, if I ask you, or you ask your high-end coaching clients, you ask them what they want, and with ridiculous consistency and predictability, they will answer with what they don't want. Try it. See if I'm right. Consistent as consistent can be. So, and let me just give you so quick, the example that I would give you here is that Kobe Bryant, may he rest in peace, but I can show you an interview, more so than Michael Jordan, but he wanted to be the greatest basketball player of all time. And by the way, he wasn't worried what you thought, or what Michael Jordan thought, or LeBron thought. He was worried about what he thought. And he thought he accomplished it, by the way. I'll show you an interview where he said that. So he wanted to be the greatest basketball player of all time. So I want you to be Kobe Bryant for a minute. Let me see if you can answer these questions the same way that Kobe would have. On the table, there is broccoli and there is chocolate. Which one do you grab? You guessed right. Another question. It's Friday. Do you go to the bar and pound 20 drinks? Or do you have a couple with the boys? Because basketball is a team sport. And you got to be a team guy. So you have a few, you fit in, but you're home by 11 midnight, sleeping when you get home, waking up. Like, are you going to the club for 20, or are you going to the club for 2 or 3? Which one? What's your answer? And you answered correct. The next day, do you train 3 times a day consistently, or do you train once a day? What's your answer? You're correct again. When you're going to train 3 times a day, because that's what you just said, do you start at 5 a.m. or earlier, or do you start at 10 a.m.? You got it right again. Before anybody wakes up, he's already got a hard training session under his belt. So hopefully you see what I'm saying. Kobe Bryant knew exactly what he wanted, right? There's a dartboard in front of you and in front of me. We're both homing for the same thing, the bullseye. And by the way, you could suck at darts, and if you keep throwing, you're gonna get a hell of a lot closer. You're probably gonna start to hit it, fluke out maybe, but you're not gonna hit the roof. You might, depending how bad you are. But anyway, so have you established that bullseye? Has your client established that bullseye? I'll tell you another example. I did a aggressive driving course once, and you jump in some fancy cars and you drive, and then you go 60, 50 miles an hour, and you got to go in and out of these witches' hats. It's actually slower than that. But anyways, or like cones, right? Zigzag, think of a slalom course. And then, you're probably smoking the cones, the gates, whatever you want to call them, pretty early. And then they take you in for training, and they show you that the reason you were smoking the cones and the reason you were smoking the gates was because you were concentrating on what you didn't want. So they would then train you to watch where the cones weren't. And guess what happens? You go back out and you go 25 quicker, you start going 25% quicker without really any more training. All you're doing is you're now concentrating on what you don't want. Or sorry, what you do want. I got that wrong, right? So that's the trick. But remember, I ask you what you want, and then you tell me what you don't want. Guess what you run into at moderate speeds? What you don't want. Marriage problems, problems with your kids, same thing. With your business, with your clients, with your follow-up, with your inbox, with your lead generation. Maybe it's your Facebook advertising. Concentrating on what you don't want. And that's why it's happening. And a lot of you are very concerned about taking on an expert, lighting a bunch of money on fire, and then ending that relationship in 90 days, worse for wear. Guess what happens? You nailed it. My dad tells a joke. He says, and by the way, I had somebody say, this is not my joke. It's not my dad's joke. And then I every one of the jokes you hear me tell, I heard or I read on the internet. So I am going to guess that my father heard this somewhere. But he said this many a times. He goes, a guy with experience and a guy with money walk into a boardroom. The guy with the experience leaves with the money, and the guy with the money leaves with the experience. You tell me if you've experienced something similar. So, that's all I got. But that is the number one question that I leave with you, and I challenge you, which I bet you won't do. But I challenge you, pen, paper, dark room, no peeing, no getting up and down, no looking at your phone, no turning on the TV and then turning it off, no checking the internet. You pen and a piece of paper. I think that for me, and I think for you, but try it, a piece of paper is like 1,000,000 times more powerful than like an iPad or an iPhone or, typing on the computer in a dock. But anyway, so write down what it is that you want. Now, here's the bad news. It sounds easy, and it's about 100 times harder than you or your high-end coaching clients could ever dream. And it will take some time. It'll take some refinement. And you got what it takes. You'll know soon. God bless. That's all I got from today. Bye-bye.